wow, yo, yippee, yay, guys. Pound number 25, and I'm super excited to be with you guys today. As we are right in the midterms, half of the year, we're taking this special opportunity to do actually the keynote of June 23 to make sure that all our Borgers are well aligned all together. As you guys know, my name is Cyrus. I'm the proud founder and CEO of SwissBorg, always here to serve you. In this special long format episode, you guys are going to have welcomed all the all-stars from SwissBorg that will be doing great videos, essentially of first, what is our mission? Then talk about what is happening in the industry with our guru, Anthony. Then talk about really our vision and how do we as SwissBorg really take advantage of this huge opportunity in Web3? How do we all become financial independence eventually through a great strategy that will be brought by François, that will be brought by Daniel, that will be brought by Benjy, that will be brought by Aurelien with the BORG, and then we'll have some special surprises such as Louis from XBorg and many others as Julien and Cryptoflow and other guys that will be explaining as well the whole decentralized part about SwissBorg. This is a really long episode, but it's going to be a really great one. So please stay sticked in and enjoy every moment. And of course, it's your job to comment, say what you like, what you dislike. Well, how do you advise this? Please build a lot of great criticism in a great way that like that we can just become better and stronger. So before that, I just want to make sure, there's no doubt that we all know what's Web3. We do understand that crypto is the thing. And we all are pretty much sure that after this crypto winter, SwissBorg, there's never been a better time for it. We did amazing things since 2017. Our track record just talks about it. You guys, Borgers with the green laser eyes and green arts have been here, some for a long time, for some bit less, but are still resilient. And I think so this is one of the best things about SwissBorg is not only we have a great vision and we have a community that supports this vision and builds this vision with us, but more importantly, we have this resilience that enables us to have those superpowers. And those superpowers are just showing day by day with new products coming out, new features. We're just able to really, really shine. And the whole world is witnessing this beautiful ascension of Borgers. So for this, I really want to remind you guys that we are still in early days for Web3, and SwissBorg has a great opportunity here in Europe, but as well throughout the world with being a platform that is safe, simple, and Swiss. And more importantly, just as a platform itself, it's a real ecosystem, as you guys know. And I think so this is exactly what it is, because really providing wealth management, I think so, is something that not many really understand this. We're always here for the long run. And through this fantastic presentation with a lot of great people, you're going to see how this is going to change. So democratizing wealth management by making it fun, fair, and community-centric, I think so we all know about this. But what does this really mean? Why do we really want to democratize wealth management? I think so this is something that's very, very important. I think so we really aspire to democratize that to become financial independent. And being financial independent for some people could be like having a house and some money on the side, or it could be having millions or billions. It really depends. This is something that's unique to everyone's character, and everyone has a different goal and a different, a set essentially. Becoming financially independent, why is it that important? Is because when you become at that stage of your life, you unlock your true inner self, right? A lot of people say that I really want to become rich, but rich is not really what you want to aspire to be. What you want is essentially to get to a certain level, to have financial ease, to make sure that you then become essentially your own self. You unlock the power that's saying like, okay, now I don't necessarily need to be like this in society or do that or work at that job or be this person. You could just be yourself. You don't need to wear that tie if you don't like ties. You don't need to wear that hat if you don't like that hat anymore. And that's why I think so it's something that's very, very important, that when you start to essentially brace, right, you get the max of oxygen, then you start helping out so many other people around the plane and making sure that you arrive safely. I think that's the beauty about becoming financial independent. And how do we really achieve to get to be financially independent? I think so with SwissBorg and becoming a Borger in the Borger Club, right? Is you get the best of TradFi, you get the best of DeFi, you put them together, and then you start taking that very strong boat and you sail it down all the way through the path of Web3, where you could really unlock again, be master of your data. You could enjoy what you do at the same time, yield, and make some great returns while investing in projects that you seek for the future. And I think this is exactly what we're trying to do. And what I think so is very important in the democratization as well, number 2, is we're doing that for anyone, right? Anyone that is able to come to the platform, whatever the background is, it doesn't really matter. We really want to embrace that model, which is just not making rich people richer, is really trying to, the opposite, take that inequality wealth gap and try to make it, more resilient in order to fortune all the braves and all the people that believe in what we're building at SwissBorg. How are we different? How do we set apart? Right away from the mission. I think so we've always been not a platform just providing tech and products and features. It's about partnering up with you Borgers, to become financial independent. Being always on that kit of really trying to build a better future all together. I think so this is what sets us really apart. Being from an ICO, creating a token, and unlocking the power of all our community members to be using this token, but as well, obviously growing their wealth with it, to recently this year of doing one of the biggest crowd equity funding of all time and making you guys partners in this journey. I think so is different as well. And I think so what we're always trying is how we together, we try to build the best thing, but we listen to you guys. We listen, we ask the questions as right now, then we come back with better solutions, and together we'll make mistakes. There's no doubt about that. But what I know is that we will commit to always make sure that we are aligned together, because we could do that, and we are SwissBorg. In this long series episode, you guys are going to see a lot of all-stars talking. Obviously, we're going to talk about, how to make this fun, fair, and community-centric, talk about how this leads us to financial freedom, but we will talk, of course, about the macro perspective with Anthony. We'll talk about all the different products, which is the Thematics, Auto Invest. We'll talk about the Hero Score. We'll then talk about, of course, our dear Borg. We'll follow up with beautiful members with XBorg, then finish with how SwissBorg Association will decentralize a lot and bring more power to you, our dear partners, friends, and token holders. So as always, guys, enjoy the best of it. Please comment, and I'll see you in a bit.
So the good news, guys, is it's still early. You are the early adopter. You must be proud of that. And for us, what does it mean at SwissBorg is we still have a massive role to play in the next wave of adoption. I'm sure you guys have seen this chart before. It compared the crypto adoption with what happened in the internet. As you can see, we are before 2000. So there is a massive room for adoption. And in that sense, for us, we factor in every decision that we're still very early. What we see as well in terms of adoption that help us to be more and more positive on the future is in the recent wave of, I would say, 2021, 2022, we see big brands that are not startup embracing the Web3 ethos and product. So, of course, the cycle of innovation for this company are much longer than what we can see with traditional startup. But what does it mean is in return, with time, traditional people, more or less savvy people, will start to adopt crypto. One of the big news as well is we see more traditional institutional players getting into the game. And one of the biggest is BlackRock, right? They recently applied for an ETF. And it's a big signal. It's a big signal because when big institutional players get into this market, you know that they have the firepower, but as well the infrastructure to deploy Bitcoin at a very, very large scale. And when you look at gold, for example, and what BlackRock has done with gold, it's very impressive in terms of adoption and institutionalize gold as an investment product. So if that happens, and I think it's just a matter of time, we'll be very surprised in terms of price and adoption and volume on what could these big guys bring to the market. But just a corollary as well that show you that what Web2, and internet done to the stock market. And as you can see at the very, very beginning, it was a non-significant portion of the overall stock market. But as the adoption becomes stronger and stronger and stronger to what it is today, now the stocks are, the tech stocks actually are the biggest driver of the stock market. If you look at the performance of the S&P 500 and the NASDAQ this year, actually tech stocks are leading the way, while the other stocks are mostly flat. And of course, the other sign is we see more and more regulation shaping the adoption, right? So it's going to play a massive role. As you know, guys, with SwissBorg, we take it very seriously. It's not only about the regulation, but it's about helping and bridging people to get on board with the cryptocurrency, because the first thing that you have to do is to transform your fiat for crypto. And that's something that we will come back. So that was for the adoption layer. The second pillar that we look at is what is the macro, what is the current market trend that is shaping our daily life in crypto. So when you look at the economists and their forecast over the next 12 months, I think you will not surprised to see that 2/3 of economists are expecting a US recession. And as an extension, you can feel that there will be a global, or at least in Western country, there will be some recession. So it sounds pretty bad, right? You might expect that if there is a recession, the market might fall very sharply, even lower than what it is today. And I want to invite you to think differently. I've been doing investments since 15 years now. And what I notice is in finance, there is not such a thing as mechanical relationship between what the market is doing and the perception that we have. The mechanism, the mechanics, the things that are pretty predictable only happen on very, very short term. So a matter of seconds or minutes, maybe days sometimes. And that's what high-frequency traders are doing, or very, very long term. In between, what governs the month, the quarter, it's very, very blurry. So when you have certainty about something such as, the recession will bring a bear market, I want to invite you to think on the contrapposites of this assumption. So when you start to ask a question such as, if there is a recession, the market will go up, because then you start to envision different scenarios and it becomes very interesting. So when we look at the contrapposites of the natural thinking that the recession will bring a very, very bad market, when we look at the past 15 years since 2008, what is the number one catalyst for a market is the Fed interest rate. We live in a world where we were used to QE since the beginning of the year and the beginning of last year. I mean, it started last year, but actually the inflation, as you know, has picked up significantly. And as a result, the Federal Reserve has increased its interest rate. And actually, it's the worst sign for market. Market doesn't like when there is high interest rate, because it gives a different risk-reward return to what we call the risky assets. But the situation is as follows. Right now, when you look at the last Federal Reserve meeting, there is no hint over the Federal Reserve going down in their rate. But the assumption that we have is, because the economical conditions are not optimal, but they are not very bad, then the Fed is not incentivized. They are not pushed actually to lower interest rate. So our assumption is, if there is a recession, which is a very clear signal that the economical conditions are deteriorating themselves, then it might push the Fed to lower interest rate that we know usually turn in the very, very positive sign for the market. So you see something that looks bad on the paper can actually be turned into a positive event for the market. And that's why we need always to be aware and play all the different scenarios and not saying only on the level one thinking, because most of the time, actually market move in a very counterintuitive way. The other factor that seems to clear up for the Fed is as well the inflation. As you can see, at the end of last year, beginning of this year, the inflation peaked, but now the inflation is cooling down, and there is good expectation that the inflation can go back down to 2%, which is the target inflation rate for the Fed. So actually, this scenario of recession can be surprisingly very positive for the market overall. The other very strong macro event, macro trend, is the fertility rate. So it doesn't seem that it's very obvious, but what is the corollary of a very low fertility rate is, especially in Europe and in let's say European countries, is that the retirement plan, pension plan, all these investment vehicle that has been planned for people to retire might fail because they are based on assumption over the fertility rate. So what does it mean for crypto? What does it mean for crypto is people more and more in the future will be obliged, they will be forced, that they want it or not, to invest because they could not trust pension fund or government or any type of vehicle that has been invented in the past 50 years to actually help them to retire. It will not be possible. The only person that they count on will be themselves. And with that regard, when you look as well at the at how we build portfolio in the past 30 years, you can see that there is an increasing complexity of what is required for any portfolio to deliver a sustainable return over years and years and years. So our conviction is, in any case, Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are a necessary asset for any investor in the world. And at the same time, we are going to a world where there is a necessity for individuals to become investors themselves. So it is a very, very positive signal for the long term. So now we review the adoption, we review the macro trend. Let's talk about the theme. What are the opportunity that we see showing themselves for the next 1 to 2 years or 3 years? So the first one is we see a massive shift from centralized volume to decentralized volume. So basically the platform where you can deal directly on chain are taking over. And that's something that we will factor in every decision at SwissBorg. We look at, as you know, guys, we are aggregating liquidity. So we're not an exchange by design, but we help people to get access to the best liquidity across the world through the platform. So for us, it's really beautiful to see that the liquidity is moving on chain. And that's something that we will make sure we follow. The other strong signal is Coinbase, which is by design the centralized exchange by default, right? That the number one centralized entity that you can mention when it comes to crypto. They even have a stocks that is listed on the Nasdaq. They embrace since 1 year the decentralization. They have launched their Web3 wallet. They have launched their own chain. So there is really this thinking and visualization that decentralization will play a massive role in the future. So we will make sure at SwissBorg that we will not miss the train. It is as well confirmed by the scalability at the Ethereum level and rollups and etc. As you can see, it's taking more and more importance into the daily life of people that do deal on chain. And it's very positive because it creates the necessary infrastructure to have more and more people onboarding directly on chain. The next big theme that is happening for us is, I would say that until now, the major catalyst for adoption in crypto was speculation. But what we believe is the next wave of adoption will be driven by adoption from different sectors. So this is typically the moment where what we witness in the Web2 world, where we switch from a fiat protocol thesis to a fiat app thesis. And it's already happening somehow, where when you see Ethereum in this chart and the revenue of the application layer compared to the app layer, you can clearly see that the app are playing a very vital role into the expansion of layer. What is infrastructure? What is technology if there is no usage? That's the number one question. And when we look at the sector that we believe are going to drive this fiat app thesis, we believe GameFi is going to be one of them, not a surprise. Social fi is emerging, and of course there is massive use case that can be driven for social fi. And the question that we all have at the moment is AI will be part as well of the next wave of adoption? Because it might seems very obvious how AI can be linked to Web3, but actually they are best friends. So when we look at the different metrics, we see that Web3 actually is huge. It's huge. It's much bigger than what DeFi is bringing on the table. And it's, anyone can understand because there is a lot of people playing games in the world. and of course, very much less being interested by DeFi application. So even when you look at the data, and of course, we can scan a lot of them, but the number one is that Web3 generate 20 times more transaction than DeFi, which is huge. Of course, when you look at the social fi sector, it's still very early days, to be honest. But when you look at what the let's say the traditional players in Web2 are taking as commission, what the data they're harvesting, all the different use cases that which is ownership, a more fair, more transparent fees. So all these use cases that can be enhanced by Web3 are just obvious. They are going to be part of the next wave. Of course, adoption again is the biggest barrier to entry, but we have good hope that eventually it will come down to Web3 social fi taking over the Web2 social fi. And of course, AI, as you can see, the rate of adoption is just crazy. And we believe when we look at what Web3 can bring in terms of AI, there is a lot of things that can happen at the infrastructure level. So one of the biggest projects that we look at right now is Render, Akash. All these guys are doing an excellent job, and there's more and more. So this is usually referred as the DePIN narrative on crypto, and that's something that we strongly encourage to look at, and we look at as well. And we will come with some investment opportunity later on this year directly on SwissBorg, because we believe it's going to be a big part of what will be our future in the next 1 to 2 years. The last indicator that we can look at, and of course they are a little bit technical, but again, it helps you to gain clarity and to get your head out of the traditional charts that sometimes, as today, do not provide much information because they are ranging a lot, is typically when we witness this indicator to fall back to 1, this is a good indication that the bottom is behind us and the bull market, or we enter in the phase of consolidation that usually lead to a more upward swing. So technical level, again, from different perspective, and again, it's not only about resistance and support, show us positive sign. At least they show us that the bottom is most probably behind us. And it's another indication that shows what was accumulated in terms of price. And as you can see, this level of 25, 26, 27 is very strong. What we see as well is smart money, according to Nansen, is moving back to risky asset, which is a good sign. Now, as we say, even when we look at the technical level for, let's say, the very, very short term, what happened on the short term, we do not see any hype. The market is most probably, the appetite for the market is still low. And usually we need this catalyst for a very strong upward movement to happen. The other factor that show us that we need to be patient, the bottom is behind us, but we should expect some range for a long time, is the volatility, both on Bitcoin and Ethereum, is at a lowest of all time. So it could be an opportunity if you guys know how to buy option. You can see that as a very good sign, because when volatility is low, the price of option become very cheap, and you can start to bet very cheaply on up or downward movement, sudden upward or downward movement. But the biggest conclusion that we have when we are, let's say, more traditional investor is the bottom might be behind us from the technical analysis, but we should be patient, because the ranging market is most probably what is in front of us, especially entering in the summer, which is traditionally not where we see the biggest appetite. The good news is what we've seen on other markets, such as the S&P or the Nasdaq or the Dow, is usually when there is a sideways market for sometimes, it is the building foundation for a very strong bull market afterwards. So actually we're building for the future. That's how you should see things right now, and be patient. The other good news is, and I strongly encourage you to look at this video, is when you look at the Dow Jones Index that provide a larger range of data, of course, because Bitcoin only exists since less than 15 years now, but the Dow Jones exists since almost 50 years today. The timing doesn't matter that much. when you have enough discipline to do a DCA on the market, actually, even if you were a genius and you can predict every dip, you will not get a significantly higher performance by trying to predict. So what we do see with this chart is actually discipline and behavior overcome knowledge. And that's the most important and fundamental things to remember is you need to check fundamentals. When the fundamentals are strong, then it's all about your behavior. Okay, when we look at Ethereum, as you guys know, now we transition to proof of stake. So all the debate on energy is over, and it's a very positive sign. We see as well on data that there is more and more adoption on Ethereum actually, which is very positive for the future of Ethereum. Ethereum is still leading the way when you look at any comparable. This is still the L1 that provide the most of the revenue. Okay guys, so let's wrap it up. So be happy you are an early adopter. We are still to witness a massive adoption when it's come to Web3 technology. Recession might surprise you. It might mean a bull market, especially if the Fed decide to lower interest rate. GameFi, SocialFi, HiFi must be your best friend for the upcoming bull market. The bottom, when we look at Bitcoin and Ethereum, looks in. But patience is key because we should expect that in the next upcoming month, we will witness a ranging market. Bitcoin, Ethereum, the positive long-term outlook is unchanged. We're still holding very strong that this is the two superior asset class that exist and they will be the best. And last lesson, the key of success is behavior, not knowledge. Thank you guys.
So let's now focus on our product and let me walk you through how we believe we will become the leading crypto ecosystem. I'm François, VP of Product. And to do that, let's cover three critical aspects. So the first one is, what is the vision of wealth management that we believe in? The one that is driving the development of our platform and influence our strategy. The second one is the two macro trends and opportunities that we think will have a lasting impact on our industry. And the third one is taking those different elements and this context into account. What is our product and platform strategy for the month to come? Let's start with the vision of wealth management and let's appreciate how our industry sells crypto today. How is the journey to wealth typically presented and sold? It is actually sold as a sprint filled with secret formulas, quick hacks, and get-rich-quick schemes. This is the same story, the same dream that the casino are selling. One big win and your life will change forever. Selling this dream is easy though. You get hooked because your brain loves it, and it craves for more. Is it, however, a reliable and viable path towards financial independence? What makes us different at SwissBorg is that we have always dared to embrace that the journey to wealth is not a sprint, but it is a marathon. Just like love, a career, or life itself. And this is the vision of wealth management that we believe in. So now let's focus on the main trends and opportunities that we believe will have a lasting impact on our industry. They already have impact on how we are developing our platform. The first one is that we have witnessed over the last few years that assets such as Bitcoin and Ethereum have already gained a global adoption. Adoption from individuals, from institutions, and even countries. A larger and larger community invests into Bitcoin and Ethereum with a long-term vision, and we are convinced that the next wave of users and investors will come for the real value and the actual potential of Web3. So as Bitcoin and Ethereum are gaining more and more popularity as a lasting investment, the time has really come to promote healthier investment principles and practices, and we want to encourage our community to embrace them. We believe this is the path towards financial freedom. This popularity is also attracting the attention of the regulators across the globe, and crypto platforms such as SwissBorg must adapt to and embrace this evolving environment. The second opportunity is decentralization. I won't spoil you too much, so please keep listening and you will have the confirmation in a couple of minutes that our platform will embrace decentralization more and more. So, taking all those elements into account, what does our product strategy look like? First, as I said, the regulatory environment is evolving, and we are making sure that we keep adapting to it, we are embracing it, and we make it a strength. I also mentioned that we believe that wealth is a journey, and this journey looks more like a marathon than a sprint. So we'll keep fostering healthy investment habits, and we do it mainly through a well-crafted investment journey so that everyone can use it and understand it, and a set of well-curated products. And the third one is embrace decentralization and DeFi itself. So keep listening as the next amazing speaker will tell you a lot more about each of those topics with passion and conviction. So to summarize, the vision that we believe in is wealth is a journey, and this journey looks more like a marathon rather than a sprint.
Hello everyone, as you know, I'm Chris, your favorite compliance officer, and here I'm going to talk about regulation and why is it important. So in regulation, I see two main pillars, the protection of the user on one side and the protection of the ecosystem on the other side. So when we talk about the user, it's important to say how we can try to prevent fraud, try to prevent scam, and even more, try to prevent your asset. Because as you have seen in the past, some company has been taken excessive risk, which have resulted in the loss of your funds. So the regulators are here to set rules to protect you. Sometimes it might be a bit painful, but it's always with the best intention. And the other aspect is, as I said, the protection of the ecosystem. Here, we are trying to see how we can prevent money laundering, terrorist financing. Because if we achieve this objective, we are able to bring more trust, we're able to bring more stability, and through that, gain mass adoption. So here I wanted to share some information about the Estonian ecosystem with you. So as you know, we are regulated in Estonia because we needed to have a European license so we can sell our services throughout Europe mainly. So in that slide, you will see that in 2018 and 2019, Estonia has been very active in issuing license and promoting their license all over the world. So that's why they have so many issued license. And from 2020 to 21 and 22, they realized that they need to be a bit more strict and monitor the actors a bit more actively. So this is why over these last 3 years, they have been very active in reviewing the current license and unfortunately revoking lots of them. And as of the 12th of June, right now, there is only 18 VASP that have an active license in Estonia. And the good news is we are one of them. As of the 6th of June, we got the official confirmation that SwissBorg got its license renewed. What else? As I have mentioned earlier, regulation is key into mass adoption. And if you want to be able to attract users and serve them with the best services, we need to have a roadmap that includes license. And on this aspect, we have 3 important licenses that we try to develop on our roadmap. The first one is asset manager license in Switzerland. We are also looking to get the investment firm license in Liechtenstein. And thirdly, we are trying to get the asset registration in UK. All this to be able to better serve you and offer you the best fiat on and off ramp, as well as the best security we can. So if I have to summarize in one sentence what is regulation and what it can bring to SwissBorg and to you. So for me, regulation is one key to mass adoption and one key to bring security and safety to you.
Hello everyone, my name is Ronnie. I am the Head of User Experience at SwissBorg. And today I'm going to chat to you a little bit about how our product design is helping users make better financial decisions. So let's take a trip down memory lane. I'm taking you back to the first version of the SwissBorg app. Launched in 2020, users could choose between any of the 3 tokens that we listed at the time in our app: Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the SwissBorg token. Since then, a lot has changed. Technology have boomed, opportunities became abundant, and most importantly, our SwissBorg user base have grown exponentially. However, one thing have not changed, and that is SwissBorg's commitment to democratizing wealth management and helping our users become financially free. How exactly are we achieving this? First, our easy-to-use and user-centric design. It has been said, simplicity is the ultimate sophistication. Us, our design team, we have fully embraced this philosophy. We believe that a seamless and intuitive design is pivotal in helping users make better investment decisions. With things like simplifying our user flows, creating step-by-step processes, and providing users with educational resources, these things empower users to invest with confidence. Because we know navigating the crypto landscape is hard, especially for newcomers. That is why we have worked with intent to make sure that our platform is accessible to everyone, advanced users, beginners, regardless of your crypto knowledge or your investment experience. Everyone is welcome. The second way we are helping users to make better investment decisions is by helping them understand what healthy investment habits look like. We are creating an environment that maximizes the likelihood for success. For example, we understand that emotions play a massive role in how users invest. Things like FOMO, panic selling, impulse buying, all of these lead to unfavorable outcomes. Us, as investors, our biggest challenge is often ourselves and our own emotions. To mitigate this, our products help users invest with discipline and rational behavior, rather than just being compelled by the market and moving from one thing to the next. So, going forward, we will have an even bigger focus on user behavior. We'll encourage users to set up investment goals, diversify their portfolios, and choose automated investment strategies that's best for their risk profile. All of these to reduce the impact of emotions in the market. These are the things that differentiates us from all the crypto casinos out there. Our focus is on the long run. As an example of how all of these principles come together, let's consider for a moment our last restructure of the navigation and the introduction of the Invest tab. There was a lot of research, a lot of discussion, and a lot of consideration that went into this design change. However, the focus remained on the products. Prior to this, our products did not have a home. There was no way of seeing new earn strategies. There was no way of even comparing your different yields. Thematics, the thematic card was in the marketplace. There was a lot of confusion. Is it a product? Is it a coin? Our products really needed a home, and this is what the Invest tab did. But, more importantly, it did not only accommodate these products, but it really gave them a spot in the spotlight. So, in the spirit of democratizing wealth management, we firmly believe that the way to achieve financial freedom is through simplicity.
Thank you, Ronnie. That's right. Doing product at SwissBorg is truly a special endeavor. That is because we not only try to solve given problems, but whenever we look at wealth management as a mission, we try to understand not only why we're solving problems, but also make sure to solve them for the very right reasons. This forces us to take a step further back and to integrate purpose and a deeper sense of integrity into every single product that we launch. I'm Danny, I work in product at SwissBorg, and I'm very proud of the fact that we do take that deeper purpose in our products. And so what I'd like to do today is to quickly do an overview of all the amazing products that we have in the app and that are available to you, and relate them back and see how they contribute to this mission of wealth management that we have and of providing financial freedom to our 700,000 users in a way that's very authentic with true experiences, and that allows our users to grow in a real way, not only in terms of portfolio, but also in terms of self-development. So that's something that's very special about SwissBorg. And so without further ado, let's go straight into it. So let's start with our amazing smart engine. The smart engine devotes itself to decomplexifying the mysteries and the intricacies of transaction, routing, liquidity accumulation, and to provide you in an automated and the simplest way possible, not only the deepest liquidity across 5 different exchanges, but also the best prices available in the market. That's how the smart engine contributes to allowing you to build your positions in the best conditions possible, getting the best prices when you buy, getting the best prices when you sell. And on top of that, we do that with absolute and utmost transparency, meaning that we take 0 hidden fees, 0 spread, and provide you the true value at face value. That's, again, our unique power of the smart engine, the simple, most transparent tool in the entire industry to transform your fiat into digital assets and back. Let's carry on with our second layer in our wealth management arsenal. In this case, SwissBorg Earn. SwissBorg Earn carries the same ethos that Smart Engine does in terms of decomplexifying investment opportunities and making them simple and accessible to everyone. In this case, SwissBorg Earn looks at the wild world of DeFi and all its passive income strategies such as farming, staking, and so many others, and allows you to invest in the very best in a click or two. All the investment opportunities given to you by SwissBorg Earn, that meaning passive income strategies, are first-handed, curated, professionally selected, and tested by our SwissBorg team before you ever get them, meaning that you only get the very best. But on top of that, unlike any other platform in the industry, SwissBorg Earn gives you the full transparency report on every single strategy, meaning that you will never fall into the trap of not understanding where the yield comes from, and therefore you being at the risk of being the yield yourself. SwissBorg Earn gives you access to the very best of passive income of the DeFi world straight to your app and allows you to find new pathways to reach your financial goals and financial freedom. And I'm very delighted to announce that these are just some of the upcoming strategies that will come straight to your app. 5% on Ethereum, 6% on Solana, Matic on a 5% APY, DOT, Atom, NEAR, Aave, and so many more. So stay tuned because we're getting ready to blast through your app with all these opportunities and much more very soon with SwissBorg Earn. So I'm very excited about this next product. But before we get there, I want to ask you a simple question. What do you think is the better strategy to have optimized returns in the financial markets, whether that's crypto or traditional financial markets? Would you rather buy every single dip and know when the dip happens so you can jump right in when the dip is at its lowest? Or just continuously buy over time, independently of what the market does? You'd think that buying the dip is a better option, right? Because, well, I'm buying at the lowest, it's not going to go lower than that. Well, the reality is that the difference is very, very small. We have empirically shown over decades, from Benjamin Graham and Warren Buffett 50 years ago, continuing nowadays, that actually it is not about the timing the market, but much rather about the time in the market. And the truth is that no one knows when the dip happens, because there can be the dip of a dip, then happens another dip, and then before you know, we're dipping all the way down. So empirically studied, the healthiest possible habit of investing in financial markets over time is something that we call dollar cost averaging. Dollar cost averaging means nothing else and nothing more than recurrently and frequently setting a given investment amount that you can invest in the markets over time, meaning every week, every month, every year, whatever you feel most comfortable with. Obviously, the most regular, the better it is, because it essentially allows you to invest with the market. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is what this amazing new feature does. It's auto-invest. Auto-invest allows you to understand truly what we mean with not timing the market, but being in the market. And it is the most convenient way to invest with the market. And what does investing with the market mean? Well, it means that if you dollar cost average as in a bull market, it means that you will directly be in profit, because every time you invest, well, the market keeps rising, so your positions will be in a direct profit. Conversely though, if you dollar cost average into a bear market, it means that you will get your average purchasing price further down as the weeks go on, because you will keep buying lower and lower, meaning that when the market eventually goes back up, you will have the chance to make much bigger profits than if you had just invested once at the beginning when you thought the dip happened. And in fact, it just continued to dip, right? So auto invest allows you to do all of that in the most simplest way possible. A few clicks, you select what asset you want to dollar cost average into, from which asset, how often you want to do it, on what frequency basis, and off you go. You can even, through direct debits, connect your bank account to auto invest and save each month part of your salary or your income and invest it in the healthiest way possible in your favorite coins and tokens. That's the power of auto invest. Lastly, however, something very special about auto invest is that it also allows you to do the opposite. You can in fact take profit from every digital asset back to stablecoin or back to fiat if you want to on a very frequently basis. Same thing, rather than trying to time the top, what if instead you just keep de-risking your position by taking off 10% each week, 20% each month, as you seem best? That has historically proven to provide the best returns on financial market. And now with auto invest, you can do it in just a few clicks. And on top of that, I'm very excited to announce that with the next upcoming release, you will now also be able to auto invest, into SwissBorg Thematics, allowing you to combine the full power of the discipline and convenience of auto invest with all the artillery that Thematics provides you, all in one go. And so, as you may have guessed, that leads me to my personal baby, the one that I take care of the most, SwissBorg Thematics. SwissBorg Thematics allows you to transform any belief, any conviction you have into an investment. That is fundamentally the amazing power of SwissBorg Thematic. It's not just bundles of tokens. It's themes that carry a strong narrative, a story, a trend, an industry sector, where you can form a clear belief behind and know that the SwissBorg investment team will select not only the best assets for you, but will keep monitoring those assets to keep updating it, each thematic as the markets move. And because of the power of automation, that means rebalancing and reallocations in thematics, we can provide you an automated way to keep your markets up to date. That's the power of SwissBorg Thematic and how it allows you to reach financial freedom through your beliefs, something that's so fundamentally important, because only believing what you invest in will allow you to navigate the market ups and downs and everything that Ronnie talked about earlier, because the only way you not panic sell when the market goes down is because you believe in what you invested in. And that's what Thematics allows you to do. In just a few clicks, you can invest in your strongest beliefs. And you may ask yourself, but Ronnie, Danny, you mentioned reallocations, but the thematic we have right now, and the only one we have, it has never been reallocated. And to that I say, yeah, you're right. But up until now. Because, ladies and gentlemen, I'm very excited to announce that we will not only reallocate the Web3 thematic, we will give it a heck of an upgrade. Indeed, the Web3 thematic will become the best blockchain thematic, giving you access to the top layer ones, the top layer twos and side chains, the top layer zeros, meaning those cross-chain protocols working on interoperability and communication between higher level blockchains, as well as a few moonshots. And we will do this in a very simple way that you will be seeing in the app which assets are in which category and why they're in there. So we're giving Thematics a huge visual upgrade as soon as this new thematic comes out, and I'm very, very excited about it. Now, why are we doing this? Why are we changing Web3 to best blockchains, you may ask? Well, we do this to keep improving the storyline and the belief system of why people invest in it. The truth is that the Web3 thematic today already carries some of these very strong blockchains, Ethereum, Solana, you name them. But there's a few assets that people have harder time to understand why they're in this blockchain, in the thematic. With best blockchains, it will become extremely clear. This will be your portfolio that if you believe in crypto, these are the projects that will carry the very roads and infrastructure that will lead crypto to the moon and the blockchain space to the moon eventually. And you will be able to invest in the very best in one simple product. That's the power of this new thematic. And that's, the rebranded thematic into best blockchains. And that's why we're doing it. And a simpler way for you to transform that belief that you have in crypto itself into a simple product and making sure that you have always the best assets in your portfolio. So stay tuned, because this summer, the Web3 thematic will become the best blockchain thematic. giving you an even clearer and more profound exposure to the very fundamentals of the entire crypto space, those that will take crypto and blockchain to mass adoption. And with that said, I do have one more thing. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely excited and delighted to be able to announce our long-awaited second thematic, introducing our brand new golden thematic. It is our strongest solution to weak money. Because your fiat, your euros, your pound sterlings, your US dollars, even your stable coins, they're like a piece of ice on a hot summer's day, just melting away under the sun. In this case, they're melting away your purchasing power. And to become wealthy, the idea is that money should protect and increase your purchasing power over time. That is fundamentally the role of commodities such as gold in the past. And that's why gold has always been adopted for millennia across civilizations, across continents, across eras. Today, we're introducing a revolutionary product that not only takes the historic resilience of gold, but it combines it with the power of Bitcoin, also seen as the future digital gold. And we do all that on autopilot. Let me explain. The golden thematic looks at Bitcoin and looks at gold and understands its different market behaviors. As market cycles go up and down, Bitcoin is very nascent still. It's in its early years, in its teenage years, meaning that it's very volatile. In strong bull markets, it can do several X returns on your investment, as we've seen in the past. But it also means that during bear markets, it can lose up to 90% of its value from its previous peak. So what the thematic does, it understands these different dynamics and allows you to invest in Bitcoin during strong markets. And as the markets get overheated, the thematic automatically starts allocating your Bitcoin towards gold, which is on average and historically speaking 5 times less volatile than Bitcoin, to preserve your wealth during bear markets. And as the market bottoms out and we think that it's going to go back up again, the thematic automatically allocates back towards Bitcoin, allowing you to ride and navigate the crypto trends on autopilot. All of this is done with ultra-smart proprietary algorithms that's ownership of SwissBorg and no one else, as well as the intelligence of a SwissBorg investment team. We're giving you the full power of Bitcoin, the full resilience of gold into one product. This thematic is essentially the very foundation of your portfolio. It's the money that you want to keep for the long term, that will keep accumulating your wealth. It's going to be the basis of your investments that will allow you to compound and grow your purchasing power over time. This is the long-term outlook. This is the best way to take profit in a bull market. Instead of doing stable coins, this thematic will actually carry you with the market and then hedge your position. It's the best way to start investing when the market bottoms out. So dear Borgers, to become wealthy, fiat is the enemy. And this is our strongest remedy. Get ready for your golden future, because it's going to come next month. Stay tuned. We're going to explain much more about this very soon.
Dear crypto community and Borgers across the globe, I hope you guys all had a blast at the keynotes in Switzerland in the past 3 days. Before I kick off today and start talking about analysis, data, alpha, CHSB token, I really want to share an important message that I'm sure will resonate with you and that will make sense. As y'all remember, SwissBorg's mission has always been to democratize wealth management, and the vision has been to make it fun, fair, and community-centric. But recently, at the SwissBorg company retreat in Barcelona, my brother and Anthony really started talking about something much more profound, much deeper and human in terms of the vision and mission. And I want to share this video clip because this is really something that has motivated me even more and where I really truly understand my personal purpose within this company and for the communities out there. Let's watch this together, guys.
All together towards that one goal, that will finally enable really our users, our community to become wealthy, become financially independent eventually, and then to unlock maybe your dream. And what you said earlier, Marco, your dream as well, is how to get to be a better person, how to get to share your ideas, your loves, But for that, the first thing is financial independence. And that for me is my big dream here at this company, is how we could all become financial independent and then unlock really our pure future, unlock what we like the most and what we care the most and get there. So without further ado, my dear brother from another mother, Anthony.
So you guys heard it, and I hope this resonates more with you when you hear this. But to me right now, in terms of SwissBorg and our purpose, not just you as a community, not just us as employees, but all together, really the idea is to provide the financial planning, the financial tooling, the financial education and literacy so that eventually we become financially independent, which leads to financial freedom. So this is all really, it gives me goosebumps, and I hope you guys understood the message across the actual talks during the keynotes. But for me, this is a vision and mission that's really worth fighting for. So before we jump into alpha, guys, and really understanding the rationale of the decision-making and the structuration to help the CHSB token price, we're going to look into a very strong principle in law called the 80-20 principle by Pareto, who was an economist who realized back in the days that roughly 20% of the population in the UK accounted for 80% of the wealth. But these facts were validated across multiple dimensions, not just economics, but business, socioeconomics, and many, many fields through empirical evidence. And I'm going to give you guys a few examples here. So first of all, like when we look at the Pareto principle, we can see here that roughly 20% of inputs results to 80% of outputs. Now, this is cool, but how does this apply to the CHSB? This part is applicable. 20% of causes will relate to 80% of consequences. As you guys remember from the previous CHSB keynote a few months back, we saw selling pressure from some of the whales. And as a matter of fact, when we fact checked, it wasn't 20% resulted to 80%. It was less than 20% of CHSB token whales had more than 80% impact on price action. So you see here that it's very important to make sure that the people who have significant skin in the game are getting rewarded to help the health of the CHSB token and future Borg token price. But also the last point here is 20% of effort built in a company will lead to 80% of results. So for example, 20% of the products will give 80% of revenues or profits. Now, why is this so important? Sometimes alpha will come across as exclusive, it will come across as unfair. And as we mentioned earlier, there are levels to the game, right? You will reach there. That's the whole goal, that through financial planning and tooling, we will bring everyone to financial independence. But one key takeaway here is if we can satisfy the 20-80 rule, the big token holders, then they will help with price action to benefit everyone. So you see how everything is interconnected. I'll give you an example of a nightclub, right? So who do you think is bringing the real money to the nightclub? The guy who just buys a ticket and maybe gets a few gin tonics? Or the VIPs that spend a lot of money on champagne bottles and VIP corners, et cetera, that will allow the nightclub to invite the best DJs, to have the best atmosphere so everyone has fun. But once again, the 20-80 rule is very important for CHSB token and future Borg token price action. So I hope you guys understand the rationale. Now let's jump into specifications. Before we jump into alpha, it's important to look at some data, facts and figures, and recent statistics that we've pulled from the net just 2 days ago. So really fresh data. And the idea here is to really compare IEOs versus IDOs. So initial exchange offerings from centralized exchanges and IDOs, initial DEX offerings from on-chain launchpads. And you can see that historically, Binance has outperformed all the other centralized exchanges, although OKX has been doing very well recently. We also have Bybit, we have KuCoin, etc., Spotlight. And you can see that the on-chain launchpads actually have had a very poor performance historically. And year to date, there are some that have been pulling it off. But what is this data truly communicating to us? All right, so let's look at a summary here together. In terms of the first category, which is top 10 all-time ROI, return on investment average, we can see that IEOs through centralized exchanges have performed roughly 1.9x in a bear market. So if we look at this in a bull market, the stats will of course be more promising. When it comes to IDOs, it is actually minus 50%. Now, if we look year to date, the second category, which means all of the IEOs and IDOs in 2023, we can also see that once again, IEOs outperform IDOs. 9.2x in a bear market, while IDOs only plus 70%. And then when it comes to the all-time highs, of course, all the best projects in the world go towards IEOs and centralized entities because they have more users, they have more trading volume, which means more liquidity. And of course, they have KYC and other things. So probably there are some people who are a little more ethical than on-chain. And you can see once again that when you have Polygon, when you have Multiverse, Axie Infinity all launching on centralized exchanges, the returns on all-time high are also more significant than an IDO. But we can also see the frequency here in the two last categories that IEOs do these launches less frequently than an IDO. So it's really quality versus quantity. And we can see that through IDOs, there's a lot more risk taking than through an IEO. But how does SwissBorg Alpha position itself relative to the two? And this is really important because the way we structure things to bring value to the 20/80 or 80/20 rule is what will matter the most for the BORG token. So what is the magic formula that we are trying to give to our dear community members? Let's have a look here. So why do we believe that SwissBorg Alpha is superior to IEOs or IDOs? Well, number one, as you can see here, IEOs and IDOs tend to have higher valuation, so you pay more for the token price, but better liquidity. So you get the tokens released earlier, so you can hopefully join a little bit of that initial hype and momentum after the TG, the token generation event. Now, on the other side, when we look at VC deals, they get the lowest price, the lowest valuation in the game, so potentially exposure to higher ROI, but they actually do not have the best terms and conditions because they have to lock up and they have to vest their tokens on a longer schedule than an IDO and IEO. So you really have to find that really strong project. And I've talked to a few LPs at some of the big American crypto VCs, and I can tell you in the past 2 years, they have been mostly ROI negative, and a lot of their positions are illiquid. Now, how can Alpha outperform both? This is the magic formula that Anthony and the Alpha team have come up with, which I am very, very bullish on. What if we can get a valuation that is low, so closer to VCs, but also because you're heroes, because you're in the ranks and you're super users, we get them to give you an airdrop in exchange for a quest. Let's say they want you to, I don't know, do a transaction on their chain or create some sort of social identity on their chain. In exchange, they give you an airdrop that has better vesting and terms and conditions. Meaning that, yes, you will have the valuation in similar terms to a VC, but also we aim to get you an airdrop on TGE or within 1 to 3 months of TGE, so you also have liquidity. Imagine that, guys. Because if you have both low valuation with better liquidity than what VCs would get, and it's pretty much the deal that most influencers would get, then all of a sudden we are mitigating the risk for all our alpha users and top hero scores. Hope this makes sense. Let us know if you have any questions below, but let's go to the next section. So one of the failures from the XBorg Vault was that when you have VVIPs or VIPs based on the hero score, you cannot have a first come, first serve basis. Simply because if people are putting so much wealth and so much skin in the game, just like any VVIP or VIP, if we go back to the nightclub analogy, people will always have reserved seats. They'll have their own separate lane to jump the queue They will have their own seats reserved for them. And so we really need to make sure that if we apply the 80-20 rule, that we have guaranteed allocation and maximum allocation for the hero score. So the top 100, for example, if that is the VVIP club, the top 1,000 hero scores, if that's the VIP club number 2, they need to be treated in a VIP and exclusive manner. Why? They have more SwissBorg tokens in the game. They've been hodling very hard. They've lost more wealth than other people. So we have to give back and provide as much value as possible. Now, does that mean that it is entirely exclusive? No. We still need public vaults. And these public vaults can come twofold. They can come one, which is completely public. And the pros of having a completely public is we can growth hack or we can fork other communities to give them a chance to come on board and go through a first come, first serve basis. So that increased the number of users, that increased the number of premiums, that increased the number of trades and revenues for the company. So that is one way. And then we can also have a separate vault, which is premium only. So all of a sudden, for those who are not premium, then they will focus on becoming premium. So you see there are two ways we can play with this. And one core difference between the VVIP, VIP hero score vaults and the public vault is, as you can see here below, this is very interesting. Although the hero scores can invest with USDC, for the public vaults, we're going to negotiate CHSB only. And you guys saw that during the XBorg opportunity vault, that one day when we had the CHSB vault, the price actually pumped. And this could be a very strong B2B utility. I'm super bullish because once we have many successful use cases, we can make this mandatory. So let's say if the project is going to raise $1 million across the SwissBorg community, we can impose them maybe 5 to 10% of that allocation, so $100,000 that we pay them in CHSB. So now we have a B2B utility like BNB with the Binance ecosystem, and then they have to go through linear vesting so they cannot dump. So that is something that we could possibly do. These are not final, but gives you an idea on our rationale. If you have any comments, questions, remarks, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And just to summarize it, once again, the hero score will start to really make sense to people because people before were wondering, oh, what is this hero score? What's it used for? But now it's going to make a lot of sense. And by the way, the hero score is going through some really critical updates. The team has been looking at all the feedback, and I think it's going to be really, really good. But once again, guaranteed max allocation, lower valuation than IDOs, better vesting terms and conditions than the VCs. So you're equal to what most KOLs or influencers will get or try to negotiate. So let's quantify the numbers when it comes to the Quest and airdrop. Let's say, for instance, you have $1,000 allocation and you invest. We negotiate on your behalf $50 airdrop in exchange for whatever action at the same valuation as your investment. So all of a sudden, 5%, so $50 out of $1,000, is going to be airdropped to you within TGE, maybe 1 month after TGE, maximum 3 months, but during the big hype phase. So that airdrop all of a sudden is giving you significant leverage because what if the project does a 3, 5, 10x, right? You'll be able to recover a significant percentage of the investment. So you see the point here, guys. And once again, these are high risk opportunities. So everyone must understand out there, when we talked about levels in the game, having alpha to the heroes is also really, really important because, you know, you're not going to go into a boxing gym on your first day and start sparring with the pros, right? There's levels to the game. So once again, you guys understand the rationale. We're really trying to think this thoroughly to provide our community with the best possible opportunities. There will be projects going to zero. There will be projects doing very, very well. It's a numbers game, but we want to mitigate the risk as much as possible and provide an ROI positive experience as much as possible.
Hello everyone, I'm Aurelien, a DeFi product manager at SwissBorg, and come with me into this journey talking about decentralization and new tokens. And welcome back in 2018. This was probably the biggest map I found of all the crypto projects at the time, and most of them are dead, pretty much everyone. So the space has tremendously evolved. That's the big thing that we need to take into account. And now if we look at everything that has been happening on the decentralized app in 2018, we can see that the volume was really, really, really low. I mean, 3 million in 7 days. Come on, that's not even like the volume that we have on 1 day on DEXs right now. And if we look at what has been happening in the space in the past, we have 3 big things that happened, which is Island that became Aave. We have MakerDAO with the famous DAI token. And now we have also Uniswap. And this was really the beginning of a new era of financial primitive. But where was SwissBorg at the time? So SwissBorg launched their ICO at the end of 2017 and early 2018. And it was two co-founders with a vision, which was creating a cyber wealth management platform using a community-centric approach. And the thing is that it hasn't changed. It's still the same thing. CHSB is still there. It has evolved. The value proposition has evolved. And SwissBorg also wanted to be decentralized at the time. And what you can see on this statement from Naval Ravikant is true. In 2018, blockchain were not scaling. There was no killer apps, no killer decentralized app. And now, where are we at with this? Now, fast forward to 2023, we have a true crypto market with a true well capitalization of $1.12 trillion. Just to give you like an example, like the entire stock market is valued at close to 100 trillion. So if you think a little bit, it's only a scale factor of 100 right here. So maybe new opportunities coming, guys. So if we see also on the fact that regulation are coming, which could be a bad thing, a good thing, I truly think that it's a good thing because like a lot of capital can come from traditional finance into the crypto world. And also the fact that decentralization is happening and that DeFi is accepted as the new financial infrastructure of tomorrow. And if we look at those charts, we can see that it's not only a trend, the decentralization, but you can see it with facts. I mean, like the number of addresses grow tremendously, and also like the market share from centralized exchange to decentralized exchange exploded pretty much. And we are moving to a decentralized ecosystem. It's not a matter of if, it's only a matter of when until it becomes a reality. And now, if we go back to the dear CHSB, I mean, it's a 5-year-old token. It became really a trusted partner, and it survived during a lot of market phases, bull market, crypto winter, all this kind of stuff, but it still exists. And SwissBorg was a unicorn during the last bull market. We were one of the cool kids during these times. And why? And why? Because the CHSB is at the center of the amazing SwissBorg app. It's embedded in each product that we've shipped. We have the premiums that enable amazing experience in the app. And I know that some super nice work is being done in the background. Not gonna say much. We have the earn, where you get more yield. You have the Thematics, where you have the CHSB in it. You have the hero score, where you get rewarded for your action. And finally, the guardian of the CHSB, where you decide the fate of the token. But right now, it's limited. So what we want to achieve is unlocking this. So if we go back to everything that I said, crypto world is moving forward. Decentralization is a journey and is happening right now. And we need to embrace it. That's it. As simple as this. So we want to bring the CHSB with us on this journey. We want to evolve from a SEX token to a true Web3 token. So now, let's welcome the BORG token, your gateway to the world of Web3. Yes, we are migrating from our dear CHSB to a new token called BORG. And here are some details about it. Like I said, decentralization is a journey, guys. So the first step is really creating this new token. It's a first step into our decentralization journey. Some details, we're not going to change the supply. It's going to stay the same. So we're going to take like the 1 billion that we had at the start, remove the burn token, and that's it. Second thing, it's a 1-for-1 swap. So pretty much like you can give one CHSB, you will get one BORG. As simple as that. we are going to embrace the Open Zeppelin ERC20 standard on the Ethereum blockchain. And why? Because it will give improved security. You need to remember that the CHSB was created out of the 2017 framework, which no DeFi existed at the time. So we need to change, guys. And the second thing is that we are going to embrace compatibility. Compatibility means new opportunity, and it means that we will be compatible with pretty much all the things that happen on chain. And speaking of chains, we are going multi-chain. That's the cool thing, guys. Multi-chains mean that we are going to have new opportunities. You know that the world currently in the crypto world is multi-chain. You have Solana, Arbitrum, Optimism, all these things, and opportunity everywhere. Could be cool to have our token pretty much everywhere, right, guys? So this is what we want to achieve. And speaking of the migration now, there is two ways to do that. The first one is you can do it through the app by doing absolutely nothing, because this is where we at, and we are going to do this for you. And the second thing is that you can do it with a non-custodial wallet. We are going to develop a website for you. You will be able to connect your non-custodial wallet and exchange your CHSB for the new BORG, and that's it. So we are really happy to bring you this. And the thing is that the migration by itself is important, and I think you know it. But the thing is that all the cool things are happening right after this. Like I said, it's a first step into the decentralization journey. So I'm really happy to introduce you what will come after with the BORG. We are really happy to bring you the new BORG token. And like I said, the migration is only an event on the journey of the decentralization of SwissBorg. So let me show you what we cook for the time that come right after this.
No, Aurelien, we have to keep that first. Sorry, guys, really apologies. We are about to announce something huge about the BORG token and how it's going to play a big part in decentralization. But we need to keep this a little bit more to make the surprise even better and bigger.
So guys, I'm sorry. I mean, we are still a centralized exchange. I've been censored by the CEO and I can't do anything. So this is why we don't show you anything. But I can tell you that you have 3 subjects that you can see on this thing. And these are the 3 things that we are working on currently internally to bring you like a lot of new cool stuff that are coming on chain. What's important is the roadmap. Now we will commit to some timeline so that you know exactly what will be released and when. So I can tell you that on Swiss National Day, which is the 1st of August, we are going to release and to announce what will be the first pure on-chain utility for the BORG token. By the end of the summer, we are going to announce the migration final date, and I can tell you that the migration will happen between September and October. So that's for sure. So stay tuned and really be online on the 1st of August, guys. So you guys probably understood the underlying message. We are really going into a decentralization journey. And I mean, it has already started internally and it will come in multiple ways, but you can see it like this. CHSB was the knife, BORG is becoming the Swiss knife. I mean, BORG is truly the first step in the decentralization journey, and it can become pretty much what we want. And what we want to do with it is really bring on-chain utilities. We want to build volume and presence on-chain. We want have perhaps a real sustainable yield and playing some collaboration game with some players in the DeFi space. I mean, it could be cool to deposit some BORG and borrow some USDC, right? We have a roadmap, but you need to understand that we can do pretty much what we want right now with this new Swiss knife. That's the beauty of it. This is the first step into the decentralization journey, and we want you to be with us in this. Long live the BORG. Thank you so much, guys.
Hey everyone, it's Louis, and today I'm super excited to discuss, and I won't discuss about XBorg today, but I will discuss specifically about building a venture that is backed by SwissBorg. And we will just start with my own personal journey as a person, but also as an entrepreneur. I started my career in finance and I had a very comfortable life. I actually worked at Credit Suisse and then Rothschilds. And then, my life was just great. I was pretty high up in the ranks of Rothschilds, pretty much the number one, working on the cryptocurrency strategy of the bank. But I also realized the way financial instruments, but also just the financial system was working overall. And during this time, I was also working in decentralized finance at MakerDAO. And I could see both sides, and I could see the benefits of DeFi and an open ledger technology such as Bitcoin applied to finance. And I could also see sort of how bad the financial industry was going towards. But although my career was successful, I really felt like I was missing something. And I felt like I could do, in fact, much better. Seeing the open ledger technology and decentralized technologies and see how this can impact the lives of so many people, but not being able to do so much about this. So at one point in my life, I was just like, I need to do something about this. But, I'm not going to teach you anything if I say that there are lots of scammers and there are lots of bad actors in the space. Even when you start your own project, you're sort of backed by VCs and business angels, but actually most of the space does not have good intentions. And also me as a person, I was looking for people that could teach me how to build a successful venture. And this is really where SwissBorg has come into play. For me, building in crypto for the most part today is not done in the best way possible. When we see all of those actors that are pretty bad and not adding much value to the space, surrounding yourself with a company that has this mindset of building great products is a pretty rare find. But this is exactly where I found SwissBorg. And I wanted to discuss about the ethos of building alongside SwissBorg a breakthrough product. And to me, SwissBorg is not just a crypto app. Today you use SwissBorg, you have access to the app on Android or Apple, but to me, SwissBorg represents way more than this. It's more of a philosophy of building great products than just a technical innovation. One of the first paradigm that SwissBorg has pioneered is this community-first approach. And this may sound like a very simple thing, but if we look at what's going to happen in the next 5 years or next decades, we'll see that community-first companies will be the one that will thrive and be successful. Now, why is that? Is because my thesis personally, and the thesis of other people, is that artificial intelligence will make building a product actually insanely easy. And so what makes you use a product over another won't necessarily be about what the product does, but more so how it was built and with whom it was built. And so having community centricity in mind and listening to customer feedback is key. In fact, it's also what we do at XBorg. At XBorg, we build gaming applications directly with players. And of course, when you build an app, you have to solve issues that come from a given perspective or given user. And so building with those users can only make a lot of sense. The other ethos of building with SwissBorg implies that you stick to utmost transparency and empowerment of your users. What we saw last year and the year before is that we had a lot of bad actors. A lot of bad actors that were not showing transparency. Celsius and the likes, FTX as another example. And in fact, you can't build a community-first company if you're not showing utmost transparency. Because with transparency comes trust. And you can't be community-first if you're not transparent. Otherwise, your community will just realize that there are major flaws and that you can't really be trusted. And last but not least, and that's certainly the most important, is to build great products. So, as much as we like crypto today, most of what crypto does today is pretty much vaporware. Like there is not much substance to crypto. A lot of people are just replicating financial instruments that were created in TradFi and applied to DeFi. But really, this philosophy of SwissBorg of creating great products and solving actual issues is what makes the ethos of building with SwissBorg stand out. And if I look at XBorg and the way we've built products or we've built our community, we've reused those principles. And when we see how far we've come in such a little time span, it really goes to show you that following these principles only makes sense. There is also this fact of not surrounding yourself with bad actors, and building with SwissBorg, you learn how to do this. You learn that raising money is not necessarily about the amount you raise, but most specifically about how you raise this amount. You see, it's pretty easy to raise capital, but with whom do you raise capital? And if we look at what happened in the past with the likes of Celsius, it's because those companies have raised money with actors that were pushing for KPIs that only made the business unhealthy. And KPIs for Celsius was, for example, user growth or TVL on the app. And that's why they were pushing for pretty high APYs on yield, and that made the whole business not sustainable. And here, this is the introduction of the SwissBorg Studio. So there is a real opportunity, just like what XBorg did, to actually reuse the same principles of the ethos of SwissBorg, but building it at scale. And we'll see here that there are multiple benefits for not only startups and SwissBorg, but also the users and the fans of SwissBorg today. So for startups, following those principles of SwissBorg and this correct philosophy of building product is in itself a much better alternative than current accelerators. So if you're new to the startup scene, usually when you create a startup, you go through an incubation phase and then an accelerator phase. But the accelerators that we see today are much like the VC space. Like they're pushing towards certain metrics such that you actually don't build the products correctly. And what we've seen from our small experience at XBorg is that for startup to follow those principles, it's pretty much like a recipe for success, or at least increase the odds of you succeeding in this market. As I said at the beginning, building a community-first company is definitely what will redefine the way consumer technologies and companies will operate within the next 5 to 10 years. And of course, for SwissBorg, some may see this as a misalignment or a lack of focus on one specific thing, but there is huge upside potential for SwissBorg to capture what I call vertical growth. For example, today, SwissBorg has about 700,000 users, but if you look at other ecosystem like ours at XBorg, where we are building great technologies for gaming and esports, today we've signed multiple partnerships that give us access to about 1 million people. And so, of course, us being part of the SwissBorg ecosystem, when people go on our platforms and applications, well, they see that SwissBorg is a preferred solution for on and off ramps of crypto and fiat. And of course, when someone goes into Web3, well, crypto assets are major components of what makes your user journey in Web3 overall. And we believe that capturing all the verticals, so not just gaming, but applied to other technologies like social fi and others, can only be beneficial for SwissBorg, not just in terms of finances, but growing the ecosystem and going beyond just what a crypto app does today. So that was it for me. I hope you're as excited as I am to build the SwissBorg way.
Hello everyone, my name is Benjy and I work in the community growth team here at SwissBorg. I'm going to be talking a little bit about what we've been working on the community side and what you're directly impacted with. The two last programs that we launched are the Hero School program and the Guardians of CHSB. And both of these are made so that our premium members and our users are able to have better interactivity with the app and hopefully a funnier way of investing. Now, the Hero School program is to us the representation of meritocracy. We want anyone from very beginner to extremely experienced to be able to embody the good investing methodologies that we're trying to teach and to get rewarded for that. We have seen a lot of interest for that program, and I would like to thank everyone who signed up for it because it's been overwhelming. However, only a few actively engaged with the program, which shows us one thing. We didn't meet expectations when it comes to making that product fun, fair, and community-centric. So we will be reworking it, and in the coming months, you'll see a few updates that hopefully will make it even more interesting for you. The first one will be that we will be simplifying everything. We've had many comments, many feedbacks from the support team and from the community directly on social media that some of the quests are too complicated, some of the points are a little bit too complicated. So we'll be simplifying the quests so that you can do it in an easier manner without the hassle of having to think. We will be providing more visibility on your progress. Many people have said that the weekly email that just shows your score is not enough, and we agree with that. So we're going to be opening up a website page where you'll be able to see whenever, wherever, how many points you have and the progress that you can make and how you can achieve that progress. And then we'll be also giving some stronger incentives. So we would like, even if the goal is to have a long-term visibility and a long-term efficiency on upping your game in investing, we would like the incentives to be stronger. And for example, we'll be delivering early access on some of our next features, airdrops, such as the ones that you've seen in the past, and also an increase in voicing power, as well as much more. That increase in voicing power directly impacts the Guardians of CHSB, which is my next topic. We've talked about the Guardians of CHSB, and you've seen us hang around on YouTube. We've been throwing out these surveys where we ask you if you would like to burn the tokens, if you would like to create a safety net, or if you would like an airdrop. But we want to bring that to the next level. We want to do much more with the Guardians of CHSB. We've also heard some criticism, even if most of it was good, and I would like to thank everyone who tweeted their rewards. It was really nice to see. To give a little recap of what happened in the past, we've distributed 680,000 CHSB. We've burnt over 300,000 CHSB, and there's 234,000 that are pending to be burnt. I know a lot of you are looking forward to that. We have been represented in the last survey by 237 million CHSB, so we see that there is a big involvement from our holders in that program, and there's more than 13,000 premium members who have participated and been rewarded for partaking in here. So we would like to bring this to the next level right now and actually bring in more community involvement. In the last survey, we sent out a Slido where you could suggest anything you wanted for us to do with the funds. And the last suggestion that was upvoted by our moderators and by our community is the SwissBorg Association. So I'm super happy that we will be introducing this in this keynote actually just after me. So stay tuned for that. We'll also be giving more transparency because we're reworking the inflow of funds after 2024. We're reworking the community index, and we'll also be giving a status of the monthly buy. So we're going to really try and give more of an insight over what's happening behind the scenes. We've been a little bit blurry on that right now, but we're going to be upping our game because at your request, it's important to us that you're satisfied. And we'll be increasing the CHSB buying pressure. Now, this might be a little bit tricky for some, but we'll be increasing the threshold to be eligible for the reward. Now, the Guardians at the moment need a 200 CHSB threshold to be eligible to their reward. So we're going to be upping that to 250 in this next session, and we'll be upping that more and more until we hit 500. And 500, if you have those, you'll be okay for the next year. But if you don't, you're going to have to buy a little bit more CHSB to get that reward every month. This will hopefully also strengthen the premium's impact. We want premiums to feel like they have something to do, like they have a tangible good from their premium accounts. That's more than just the yield and the fee reduction. And this is why we're also working on the earn strategies. We're also working on the thematics and everything you've seen in this keynote. We really want everyone to feel like they have an impact, and we want everyone to feel like they're really getting something out of the app. And I really believe that this is happening. Now, without further ado, we're going to be opening the QR for the next session of the Guardians of CHSB. And this QR, if you scan it, will bring you eligibility to the reward. It will let you choose what you want to do with those CHSB. But more importantly, you should wait for the next part of the presentation before deciding how much you're going to be allocating to each pot, because the SwissBorg Association is happening. It's been voted. You want it. And we're going to let them present their whole program right now. So stay tuned for that.
Hey, salut la commu. Comment ça va? Comment ça va bien? Ici, on est au taquet avec Cryptophile. On est super content de pouvoir vous passer un petit coucou dans la keynote. On remercie SwissBorg de nous donner ce petit créneau pour vous parler d'un projet qui nous tient à cœur, un projet où on est déjà une petite quinzaine à travailler depuis quelques semaines, quelques mois même, et on va vous en parler. Mais avant, Cryptophile, comment vas-tu? Comment ça va bien?
Mais ça va très bien et toi? Bonjour à tous la commu. Mais ça va super bien. On va déjà commencer tout ça avec... Tu peux te présenter peut-être, Julien?
Oui, on va se présenter un petit peu pour ceux qui ne nous connaissent pas. On est des membres de la communauté. Alors, on a tous les deux un parcours un petit peu différent. Le mien a commencé avec l'ICO, où j'ai découvert un petit peu le projet parce que c'était un petit peu dans la philosophie de mon métier, parce que je suis conseiller en gestion de patrimoine à la base. Et donc forcément, mélanger la gestion de patrimoine et la crypto, il n'y avait pas grand monde qui le proposait à l'époque. Et donc ça m'a tout de suite intéressé, et surtout avec cette vision un petit peu fun, fair et community centric qui m'a tout de suite plu. Et quand le bear market est arrivé et qu'il y avait de moins en moins d'activités dans la crypto, et j'ai continué à surveiller ce qui se passait du côté de SwissBorg, et j'ai vu effectivement d'une part une communauté très engagée avec des gens qui donnaient beaucoup de leur temps. Je salue tous ceux qui sont dans la salle de la Keynote à Lausanne. Là, il y en a beaucoup qui sont encore là parmi nous. Et surtout aussi l'équipe dirigeante qui n'a jamais baissé les bras, bien au contraire, et qui a charbonné pour nous sortir l'application qu'on connaît aujourd'hui. Et donc ça m'a donné l'envie de l'extérieur, de contribuer, de travailler un petit peu à ma petite échelle à faire quelque chose. Et c'est comme ça que j'ai rejoint la DAO, la modération du Telegram de l'époque. Et même au sein de la DAO, j'ai pu faire les premières missions. Les missions à l'époque, c'était faire des vidéos, par exemple, pour parler du projet en français, puisqu'avant, à l'époque, tout était en anglais. L'application n'était pas encore traduite en français, d'ailleurs. Et comme je voulais aller plus loin et en faire plus, c'est comme ça que j'ai créé SwissBorg Mania pour pas me limiter à une mission par mois, mais faire une émission par semaine. Et puis voilà, le chemin faisant, ça fait plus de 2 ans, ou peut-être même 3 ans maintenant qu'il y a des shows quotidiens, hebdomadaires là-dessus. Voilà. Cryptophile, je t'en prie. À ton tour, décris-nous un petit peu de ton action.
Merci Julien. Moi, c'est The Cryptophile. Donc j'ai découvert SwissBorg milieu 2020. Donc en faisant une recherche sur ce qu'étaient les ICO, je découvrais la crypto à l'époque. Et j'entendais beaucoup parler des ICO, et donc c'est comme ça que je suis tombé sur le projet SwissBorg. J'ai regardé les premières vidéos, étudié un petit peu le projet. Et très rapidement, je suis tombé sur la communauté de SwissBorg. J'ai découvert un peu ce milieu-là. Et j'ai beaucoup aimé cet esprit de bienveillance, de partage et d'entraide entre les membres de la communauté. Ça m'a beaucoup plu, vraiment. Et puis, il y avait cette possibilité de réaliser des missions. Et puis, c'est vrai que, j'ai assez vite, j'ai fait mes premières missions avec notamment la Token Squad, la modération sur le Reddit et sur Discord, et puis le National Council, et puis au fur et à mesure, ça m'a permis d'acquérir de l'expérience en partageant avec les autres, de l'expérience en apprenant moi-même aussi. Et c'est comme ça que j'ai eu l'idée de faire aujourd'hui une émission que je pense certains d'entre vous connaissent, qui sont les Smart Cafés. Et donc, fin d'année, avec un groupe de borgers, on s'est dit qu'il était temps de remettre sur pied un espace créé par la communauté, pour la communauté, et retrouver un peu cet esprit positif. Retrouver cet espace de réflexion où on pourrait à nouveau proposer des initiatives, soumettre des idées, créer ensemble pour donner plus de visibilité à SwissBorg et à la commune. En fait, c'est un peu ce qui existait avant avec l'ancienne DAO et qui a été un petit peu perdu malheureusement. Et donc, comme disait Julien avant, avec ce groupe de borgers qui sont avec nous, on a eu envie d'œuvrer pour la vision de SwissBorg, qui est de démocratiser la gestion du patrimoine au travers de la blockchain et des nouvelles technologies. Et c'est vrai que pour mettre un projet comme celui-là, il fallait quand même qu'on fasse quelque chose avec la team, qu'on soit main dans la main. Et donc, on a beaucoup discuté avec eux. Ils ont été très réceptifs. Notre idée leur a plu. Et donc, on est très fiers de vous présenter We Are SwissBorg. Alors, Julien, c'est quoi We Are SwissBorg?
Ah, c'est une bonne question. Et derrière We Are SwissBorg, en fait, le projet, c'est la création d'une association par la communauté, pour la communauté. On va pouvoir à nouveau s'engager dans des actions qu'on va pouvoir mener pour aider SwissBorg à accomplir cette grande mission de démocratiser la gestion de patrimoine, l'accès finalement à la liberté financière. Alors, ça se construit un petit peu dans le prolongement de l'histoire de l'ADAO dont tu as évoqué précédemment, cette façon de s'engager. Il avait été prévu que si jamais l'ADAO se terminait, il y avait la possibilité de créer quelque chose de nouveau. Et c'est dans cet esprit-là qu'on va se positionner. On ne se visionne pas comme l'unique façon de contribuer individuellement à l'essor de SwissBorg. Clairement, on n'est pas l'alpha et l'oméga de l'engagement communautaire, mais on est une solution parmi d'autres. Et peut-être que d'autres voudront créer leur propre façon de soutenir, de défendre, de faire connaître SwissBorg. En tout cas, nous, on a envie d'être un petit peu les pionniers dans cette démarche-là. Et on va essayer de construire quelque chose de durable. Des enseignements du passé, on a compris qu'il fallait avoir un petit peu compté sur la communauté, être résilient. Et donc, c'est dans cet esprit-là qu'on va essayer de créer quelque chose en indépendance. Alors, on va essayer finalement d'être indépendant tout en soutenant SwissBorg. SwissBorg nous soutient. D'ailleurs, on est là aujourd'hui dans un passage de la Keynote. C'est parce que on a le soutien de SwissBorg dans cette démarche. Mais on sera indépendant dans deux sens. D'une part, parce que on aura nos propres ressources, mais aussi parce qu'on pourra mener à bien les projets que nous choisissons. Et l'indépendance va aussi porter sur le fait que nous n'allons pas nous impliquer stricto sensu dans les mouvements auprès de SwissBorg. C'est-à-dire qu'on n'aura pas d'action sur le roadmap, ni dans les tokenomics ou d'autres sujets stratégiques de SwissBorg. On a choisi le nom We Are SwissBorg parce que, comme tu l'as très bien dit, Cryptophile, notre objectif, c'est d'être un lieu de rassemblement pour tous ceux qui veulent passer à l'action. On est une vingtaine, 15-20, on vise à être plus nombreux. Aujourd'hui, le petit groupe est là pour nous structurer, pour pouvoir accueillir davantage, car la vision, elle est mondiale. L'idée, c'est de permettre à chacun, peu importe sa langue, peu importe sa zone géographique dans le monde, dès lors qu'il peut avoir accès à SwissBorg, il devrait pouvoir rejoindre notre association. Alors, on envisage énormément d'actions possibles. Déjà, si vous vous souvenez de ce qui était faisable dans la DAO, vous serez pas perdu. On va essayer de reprendre ce qui marchait. Donc, on aura certainement des articles de blog, on aura des vidéos explicatives, des newsletters, des smart cafés, des événements dans la vie de tous les jours aussi. Mais on essaiera d'aller dans tous les champs du possible pour pousser l'idée au maximum. Et c'est pour cela qu'on aura besoin de vous aussi pour nous pousser des idées. Cryptophile, je t'en prie.
Bien sûr qu'on aura besoin de la commu pour ça, c'est évident. C'est évident. Et si le projet vous intéresse, vous avez le code QR à l'écran qui doit s'afficher. Et en fait, ce code QR, ça va renvoyer sur un questionnaire qu'on a préparé. Et dans ce questionnaire très basique, il y a quelques questions dedans. La première, c'est de savoir comment vous contacter. La deuxième, c'est la grande ville ou la région dans laquelle vous êtes, histoire de pouvoir situer les différents membres, ce qui va être important pour nous aussi pour bien cibler. Et puis, je crois qu'on a une troisième question, Julien, non?
Oui. La dernière question, questionnaire est court, c'est un quartier libre. Donc, vous allez pouvoir, au travers de cette dernière partie, dire ce que vous pensez du projet, comment vous aimeriez rejoindre le projet, des idées qu'une association comme celle-ci pourrait mener à bien. Vraiment, vous avez quartier libre, donc faites-vous plaisir. N'hésitez pas. Vraiment, on va regarder ça avec attention. Donc, toutes les contributions sont les bienvenues. Voilà.
Bien sûr, toutes les contributions. Bien sûr, c'est évident. En tout cas, merci beaucoup. Merci à la team de nous avoir permis de faire cette présentation. Et puis on espère vous voir nombreux à répondre à ce questionnaire. Et puis à très bientôt. Merci Julien.
Merci Cryptophile. Ciao les amis. Bye bye.
Through SwissBorg, all assets will have a fiat gateway. And here's the thing.
Premium features gives you zero fee trading.
It's an amazing fiat gateway.